Okay folks, as I said earlier, I'm back for a second time today for a much shorter video this time. I've lost the light completely now, so I hope you can see me alright. Although it might not be a bad thing if you can't. Right now, last week I did a video on some vintage science fiction paperback pickups, which is very rare these days. Well, I went back to the same shop a few days ago, and they'd either had a bit of a restock or they had some more in, because I found another nice little haul, and even better this time the guy recognised me from last week and gave me a discount. So these ones I'm going to show you only worked out at £1.50 each, which is pretty good for 60s, 70s, 80s vintage SF. So yeah, I was over the nut when I left the shop on Friday a few days ago. So today I will show you what I picked up. Without any further ado, right, there we go. John Brunner, Squares of the City. John Brunner wrote a lot of very interesting books back in the 70s. The Sheep Look Up being one of them. The Shockwave Rider was another one that was well thought of, and also a book called The Jagged Orbit. All of them well received. This one is a Fontana. Fontana didn't do that many science fiction books back in the day. I mean, that's quite a nice cover. This one is, let's have a look here just very quickly. This one is 1977 vintage. So it looks like a first UK paperback edition in very nice shape. So, yep, that was a nice one. Now this one's in even better shape. It's apart from a little bit of browning around the edges, not much. It's it's almost near mint. Monument by Lloyd Biggle Jr. Now it's funny when you've had a lot of these in the past, you go back and rebuy them. Some you remember more than others. For some reason, I remember that cover quite well. Nice art. I'm not familiar with Lloyd Biggle really. This is a New English Library. I think this is a slightly later vintage. This one is new edition 1980, so it's a later printing, but 1980. I mean, it's still 40 years old or more. I always think of vintage as being more 60s, 70s, but 1980s just on the cusp. There's another one I seem to remember from the old days. This being an ace book, because I always prefer American editions. Interplanetary Hunter by Arthur K. Barnes. Not a particularly well-known author, but nice artwork on the cover there. It's in very nice condition again. £1.50 for these books in sort of like fine condition or near mint almost. I mean, this one's hardly got any browning at all. So yeah, I mean, £1.50 for that is just crazy, really. But and this is a first stage printing, 1972. So if it didn't come out in hardback, that is a proper first edition. I'll have to look that one up. Right, there is an author that I've seen a lot of his books, Piers Anthony. I'm not familiar with his work. But there again, we have a nice tight copy. Almost no browning to the pages. Just a little. Someone's written their name on the inside there, which is not too bad because you wouldn't go looking for it, would you? As a blip. And this one is previously published under the title Cluster. First published in Great Britain by Millington, who were a hardback publisher, and this is Granada 79. So there again, that looks as if it's a first UK paperback at least. Part of a series. There's the other two. So yeah, I've never read any Piers Anthony, so one day I might get round to reading that one. I mean, one good thing about picking up these vintage, I mean, I'm on a bit of a book kick at the minute, as you probably gathered from my videos. One good thing about picking up these videos, it's encouraged me to read. So I'm actually reading stuff at the minute. I'm reading Shadow of the Torturer by Gene Wolfe at the minute, which is interesting. It's not the kind of science fiction that I'm used to, but it's fairly interesting. Right, the next one here is one of our great British authors, Brian Aldiss, Earthworks. I remember this one very well from the olden days because it's a striking cover. It's quite a thin book. It's not it's not in sort of like mint condition, but it's what I would call a very good plus. It's another New English Library, and it is a new edition dated 72. So it's nothing first paperback or first edition about that one. Now this I've never seen this one before. This is a Panther book, and it's an anthology. Ray Bradbury, you can see there, Isaac Asimov, A.E. Van Vogt, edited by Michael Sissons, who I'm not familiar with. It's got a 2 and 6 price tag on it there, but so that means it's got to be, I would think, late 60s or early 70s. Yeah, this is the first Great British publication, so it's the first UK edition, published June 62. So there's a nice old one to be having for the price. And there again, another old, get out of my sky. There's another collection by stories by James Blish, Paul Anderson and Thomas Scorcher, amongst others. It's a Crest book, which you don't see too many of. Again, it's got a 2 and 6, 2 shillings and sixpence price tag on it, and that one is dated 1960. So that looks like it's certainly a first paperback, might even be a proper first edition. So it doesn't mention any hardback printing, so that's a particularly nice one. Now this one I'm familiar with. I've never read any of this guy, H.B. Piper, a little fuzzy. See one of those books that's quite well thought of. That looks a bit bonkers to me, but never judge anything till you've read it. I say it's an Ace edition. It's a late Ace edition. It says here too long out of print. So this is obviously a later printing. Originally copyrighted 62. It doesn't have a printing. So I think this will be early 80s from the look of it. But it's American. It's Ace. So I thought I'd pick it up. Right, here's one of those nice, these nice Ace doubles. I do have a couple of these in my collection still, although I had a lot at one time. God knows why I got rid of them. 2 books by Lee Brackett. This one will be vintage, early 60s, I would imagine. Yeah, 1964. And of course, these were all first editions, proper first editions, because they came in this format. So yeah, there's a nice first edition Ace double there. Right, now you remember last week I showed you the collection I picked up of the family D'Alembert series by, well, purportedly by E. Doc Smith. A little warning for any of you who might have seen that last video and thought, oh, that looks interesting. It's a total misrepresentation, this E. Doc Smith business, because in actual fact only a portion of the first volume of the 7 I showed you last week were written by Doc Smith. The rest were written by Stephen Golding, who appears in very small letters on the covers of them. It was originally a short novella by Doc Smith, which was expanded for the first first number, and then Golding just expanded on it himself. So although it was emblazoned with Doc Smith, very little Doc Smith in any of them, whereas this one is actually a Doc Smith. I made sure of that before I bought it, because I've never read any of his, and I thought, well, at least I've got one here to have a look at. Unfortunately, it's the fourth of a 4-issue series, so I don't know whether I can just pick it up and read it without knowing any of the backstory, but I thought it was a nice one to have. It's in nice condition, and it's 1974 vintage, so yeah, there we go. I have a Doc Smith I can read. Now this one, I had to pick this one up. I remember having it, and any eagle-eyed amongst you who are comic fans, or indeed fans of paperbacks, will immediately recognise that as a Jim Steranko cover. And it's in very nice shape. There's an old Woolworths sticker there of 9p. Yeah, couldn't resist that one at all. I mean, there's no browning to the pages at all. I would classify that as if I get that sticker off the back, it'll be absolutely mint. Can't see any blemishes on it whatsoever. And that is 1969. And I believe that'll be a first paperback, if not a proper first edition. So yeah, that was a nice one. Very nice pickup. Pleased with that. And then I haven't read any Harry Harrison. I've heard he's a bit pulpy, but that's one of his more famous books from a series, actually. And I've never read it, never read anything by him. It's got a very nice cover. It's only a slim volume. Apparently the hero of this is a chap called Slippery Jim DeGriz. I mean, how can you not read a book that's got a character called Slippery Jim DeGriz in it? This is reprinted from 1973 and 76, so there's no great value to that at all as a first edition, because it isn't. Right, and then the last couple were a couple of farmers, Philip Jose Farmer and Night of Light. Now a lot of these early farmer editions are actual proper first printings. This one's a little bit knocked out of kilt. I'll have to try and put something heavy on it and get it back in shape. But yeah, it's a Berkeley book, American Berkeley book, and it hails from the vintage 1966 Berkeley edition. It doesn't mention any hardback edition, so I would imagine that's a proper first. Night of Light, Philip Jose Farmer, very popular author in America. Not so much here. And then we have another farmer, this time a Belmont book, The Gate of Time, in very nice bit of browning around the edges, unfortunately, but with if ever you get into collecting these things, anything prior to 1980, where the paper tended to be better, you're going to find some browning. If it's sort of like 60s, 70s, it's just aging. It's unavoidable no matter how well you keep them. You're always going to get a little bit. So yeah, that was Philip Jose Farmer Belmont edition from 1966, and there again it's copyright, so it's a proper, a real first edition. So there you have it, folks. My little pickup. So I'm going back this week to the shop to see if they've got any more of this great stuff, and hopefully I'll get another discount, which I can then show you next week. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Keep supporting the channel, keep subscribing, keep looking in. Don't worry about the adverts, they're nothing to do with me, as I told you last time. And yeah, I'll see you, I don't know what with, but I'll be along with something very shortly. Bye-bye now.